is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
And Deion Sanders is leaving the NFL. His contract was up, and he is now going to Barstool Sports. So if you read the story, the NFL Network has cut out like $20 million. And apparently Deion's contract was up, and they wanted him to take a pay cut. And apparently Deion was not willing to take a pay cut, so he ended up leaving the network. And then he posts a video that freaks everybody out because he signs a deal to be on Barstool Sports. Let's hear from Deion Sanders making his announcement to Barstool Sports.
Gold jacket coming to Barstools. Red NFL 100 greatest players coming to Barstool. I got a blue one for the College Hall of Fame coming to Barstool. Faith, motivation, spiritual guidance, baby, I got that too. And a real opinion on almost every sport, I got that too. Now, I have the platform that I can spread what I got to the masses. Oh, baby, thank you, Barstools, as the young generation of fan that I want to help cultivate. I want to mold you. I want to talk to you. I want to speak to you. See, I love to speak my mind, and now, baby, I got the platform to do it year-round. Controversy ain't never scared me. See, podcasts are the future, and I'm so excited about this opportunity, but I'm also excited to continue my relationship with the NFL. In some capacity, NFL has been good to me, baby. NFL has been good to me. I can't just abandon them. I'm still going to kick it a little bit. I got a lot of folks that I love and I admire them. But content distribution is where all my kids and the kids I coach get their info. Barstool, baby, is where the next generations of fans are. And guess what? I'm right where I want to be. So if you didn't know, now you know. Prime time and Barstool. I like that. Prime time and Barstool. I like that. If you don't know, baby, now you know. You heard it from Force, or you heard it from Brian.
So many things I want to talk about there. One, he said podcast is the future. He said that in there. And now, notice how a couple of times he says, now I have the platform. What have you and I been talking about here on this show? About platforms, right? And I told you about the limitations that you got when you listen to 560 and 790. That's radio with no balls at all. No guts. Let's go guts because we do have ladies that also broadcast there. But you can't be honest. You can't say what's on your mind. And you can't actually be truthful about your teams. They can be truthful about the Marlins because the Marlins aren't on their station. But if it's about the Canes and it's about the Dolphins and it's about the Heat and it's about the Panthers, can't get it. And you heard Deion Sanders a couple of times mention in that whole piece how now he gets to speak his mind. Now he's got a platform. He did that 2 different times. And I think that's a message that you're trying to convey to people because, unfortunately, the corporate world ends up straddling you and you have to then be quiet. You have no choice because then you're going to lose your job and you got to pay bills. So you've got to work under certain conditions. So if you work at 560 and 790, you can't be a real sports talk show host. You can't say what's on your mind. Did any of them say that Dale Talon should be fired? Not one. Can they? Nope. They can't. They can't, and no one had the balls to actually say it. I don't think all of them even thought it. I think maybe some may have thought about it, but they didn't have the balls to say it. Why? Because then Len Weiner would be there, getting you in a meeting and telling you can't do that. You understand? And so this is where, that's why I've told you guys this a couple times in the last week. Find the people you like on podcasting. Okay? That's where you're going to get your real talk of anything. Sports, politics, whatever. You're not going to get it on a network because unfortunately they're going to spin to one way or another. So you're not going to get any objectivity there. But that is where we're going because that's the only way you can control your voice. That's the only way people can't control your voice. That's really important. Now, if you don't care and if you want to, if you can work that way under those conditions, then go ahead. But you have to understand as a listener what you're listening to. Okay? And I think also this is why sports talk under the corporate umbrella has gone off into goofing off and to screwing off and to talking about other things because they really can't get into the sports issues. It's a shame, but that's the brutal honesty of it all. And when you hear Deion, you hear a guy that wanted to be, and at Barstool, that's not, obviously you can say what you want in Barstool because that's the way Portnoy wants it. And that's the way he does it. So if your boss can do it, he's opening the door for the rest of you to go express yourselves. And Barstool now, they are going in a very interesting direction with Deion Sanders, and they have enough money now that they probably can go and expand in those areas and find people that are willing to express themselves and give, serious opinions. So, good stuff for Deion. Okay? I don't know how it'll work out for him over there, but I do understand freedoms, okay? Because I've been fighting it in radio forever, behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, I'm surprised it lasted that long, that I was there as long as I was, considering that I would never, ever, ever lay off anything that they would tell me. Ever. Whenever whiner bitch came in and, oh, you shouldn't be this. No, I'd tell him straight up, no, that's not how it goes. It's not how it goes. I mean, when he told me that I can't call Whiteside a knucklehead because he left a semi-automatic gun unlocked in his car, I said, so you don't think that's a knucklehead? Well, no, that's not the point. Well, that's my point. And then the conversation was over. So I told him, no, I'm going to call somebody a knucklehead when they're a knucklehead. And there's no defense for it. Oh, we have relations with the team. I don't care. I've interviewed Pat Riley. I've asked him tough questions. Have you, Len? Of course not, because you got no balls, dude. That's the difference. I could talk to the Panther owners and tell them that Dale Talon needs to get fired. Yeah. I don't have a problem with that, man. Whether it's Saban, Jimmy Johnson, forget it, dude. If I'm going to ask you a tough question, it's not just going to be on the air. It's going to be right in your face. I'm not going to back down and all that. No, that's my job. You can't handle the tough question? Okay, then that's why that's the new media. The new media is, okay, we're going to pay you to be their left tackle. And so you've got to protect them. And so when we have controversial issues, you have to sidestep it. It's a bunch of crap, dude. That's what you're listening to nowadays on 560, on 790, on stations all across the country that are owned by these big-ass corporations and tied to teams. That's all you're listening to. You're listening to politically driven radio, and because they can't really talk about the issues, then they have to go off and talk about silly stuff And listen, there's a market for that. Plenty of people love goofing off and screwing off on the air and all that, even though supposedly it's labeled as sports talk, but you're really not talking much sports. But now you know why. Because when there are touchy subjects, they can't actually address them, And that's what Deion Sanders, I think, there's part of him that was like, I'm free now. I get to actually say what I want. And so now when he disagrees with something with the NFL, on the NFL Network, you can't do that, dude. It's just the way it is. If you work on an NBA channel, radio or TV, an NFL channel, radio or TV, you can't be honest. You can't. Or you won't have either job. That's the reality. And that's what you're listening to. That's the problem there. Deion's rant sounds very familiar, Big O. God bless. And it just, it sounded to me like a dude that was happy. That got some freedom. Chris Russo had a parent of NCAA Big Ten players called him to say his boy has practiced for 3 weeks with no COVID testing, canceling the season, came out of the blue. Parent was not happy. I don't give a rat's ass about that, Mark. Were they practicing and hitting? No. Okay? They weren't hitting. They're not tackling. They're not doing any of that. They're practicing, and they're practicing individual drills. Okay? They're not putting on any – there's no pads being put on now. You know that, right? It's illegal. They can't put on pads now. Bless you. So if they put on pads, they will get written up by the NCAA and, all hell will break loose. There's no pads. The universities aren't packed with kids right now. The parties aren't going on. It's so asinine. Every coach or parent that comes out and says something about the practice the last couple of weeks. Let's see. Man of 1,005 Holes says, RIP mainstream sports radio. Underground is the way to go. It's the only way to go. It's the only way to go. DJ Gallagher says, plus the topics are widespread, not just sports on the Big O Show. This show tackles everything, including the boom, boom room. That's right. Damn right. Oh, while I waited for your show today, I listened to 560, 790. The kids on 790 were horrible talking about appetizers, and 560, Lebitard, horrible and Hawk-like show. Well, look, I like Hawk and I like Lebitard. I'm not there to pick on their shows or anything. Not my style. But they do an excellent job with, the kind of stuff that they do. 790, I listened to 790 on the way here. They had a best of Zaslow and Amber on. They don't even have enough money to actually have a fill-in host. Okay? That's 790 has a live. 560, 790 only have a couple of live shows left. And one of the few live shows that they have on, they can't even pay for a fill-in. Brother, when I started at 560, it was like there were like 6 guys willing to fill in. Sports radio now is garbage compared to where it was. It was real sports radio, back in the day. What you hear now, please, dude. Let's see. 560 doesn't let you send text anymore. I tried to send a text to 560. It replied it doesn't understand the message. I don't know about, whatever. Listen. I barely listen to those stations anymore. There's very few live shows. I like listening to sports talk. You know what I mean? So I'm more of that. If I want a comedy show or whatever, then I'll go tune into something on Netflix to go laugh. I'll pull up Dave Chappelle or something and I'll laugh. But if I'm listening to sports talk, I actually want to hear sports talk. So that's what I don't hear anymore. You know? What else? My sister-in-law worked for radio for 25 years. She made minimum wage to start, minimum wage at the end. No, radio is it's a terrible business, man. Javier Fernandez says, makes sense. Oh, Mark McIntyre says, parent did not say that. Yeah, I bet the parent didn't talk about that they didn't have any pads and that all the kids aren't in school yet and that the parties aren't going running rapid. All the women aren't on campus yet. Show me that football can survive when they can travel, hit other people, hit themselves, party, and they're going to stay COVID-free. Here, I'm always prepared for this show, dude. I always have. I get all kinds of stories. Did you guys see this? Okay, listen to this, Bill. The college people think they can have this go on, right? The Cherokee County School District in North Georgia has directed 826 students and 42 teachers to quarantine as a result of exposure to COVID-19 after being back in school for only 6 days. 6 days. This is like the baseball season. What do you do with all these people missing days? How do they make up for those days? How do they make up for all that homework? How do they make up for the classwork? What, virtual? And how about the 42 teachers? How serious are those? What have I said the entire time about kids going back to school? I get it that most of them survive, but they're all carrying the damn virus. The people they're going to kill are the teachers, the administrators, the janitors, the cafeteria workers, the electricians, all the other people that are old. Those are the people they're going to kill. Yeah, no, college is going to work, of course. Yeah. You know, kids follow rules. Of course. I mean, you know, it's just silliness, man. And it's not that I don't want it to happen. I want football. I need football. But I got to be honest. How the hell does football happen? How? In the middle of a pandemic. And again, we're so numb to it. Most of you don't even keep up that 1,500 people died yesterday. Oh, 1,500. And you know what it is? There'll be some people that don't even follow it, and they'll think that it's normal that 1,500 people died of COVID yesterday. You've got to be berserk to send your kid back to school right now. Yeah, no, man. Keep your kid on virtual now. That's the only way. That's the only way.
All my nieces are the only ones left in school. Not happening.
Right.
Not happening. All three of them. No school.
Virtual.
Yep. Virtual. That's it.
You have to do virtual. My daughter's doing virtual. She's getting through it, bro. You know? Listen, if you have work ethic, you'll get through anything. You adjust and you figure it out. That's all. Robert Triana says, Candela, like you said before. I agree. Uncle Neil used to say that it was the worst cutthroat business, the radio business. And he's 1,000% right. 1,000% right. All we have... Dolphin Maniac says corporate radio sucks. Yeah, you're right about that. Cancel RNC but open schools. No, the best part is all those top people, they're not sending their kids to school. Trump tells you to open schools, but he's sending his kid is going virtual. DeSantis tells you, I'm going to open schools, but his kids are going to be virtual. They're not sending their kids to school.